Hello and welcome back to Absurdland. In this video, we're exploring crazy and mind-blowing historical photos. From a gangster altering his identity to shocking wartime moments, these rare images reveal a hidden side of history. Let's dive in and uncover these incredible moments. This 1910 photo shows a whipping post at the Baltimore City Jail, where prisoners were tied up and publicly whipped as punishment. This brutal practice was widespread in U.S. prisons during the early 20th century, before more humane correctional methods began to replace it. In 1906, a Chinese pillory and collar was used to punish prisoners. The photo shows a prisoner kneeling, their hands chained behind their back, with their pinky fingers also tied together, restricting their movement. These devices were meant for public humiliation, often displaying the prisoners in public areas as a warning to others. In 1934, one of the well-known gangsters of the Great Depression era, Alvin "Creepy" Karpis, had his fingerprints surgically removed by an underworld doctor, Joseph Moran, to avoid identification. This photo depicts a folk remedy from 1865, used by a village blacksmith in England to treat chronic headaches. In the 19th century, medical treatments weren't widely available, so people often relied on home remedies. Blacksmiths, as local healers, would use physical treatments like hitting the head with a pot-like object to alleviate pain, aiming to knock out the headache or relieve internal blockages thought to cause it. Laszlo Bardossy, Hungary's former prime minister, moments before facing capital punishment in Budapest, 1946. Captured by renowned photographer Lee Miller, this image documents the consequences of wartime leadership in post-war Hungary. The 1966-67 NASA photo, taken for lunar landing site research ahead of the Apollo missions, was deliberately downgraded from its original high-resolution version. The photo above is the low-quality version, while the one below is the original. This was done to mislead the Soviets into believing that the US could only capture low-quality aerial reconnaissance images, a strategic move with implications for military and satellite intelligence during the Cold War. A U.S. soldier marches a captured Viet Cong fighter on a leash in the Da Nang area during the Vietnam War. The Viet Cong, often blending in with civilians, were frequently taken prisoner during raids and skirmishes. Interrogation followed for intelligence gathering. This 1903 photo shows a group of Russian prisoners on Sakhalin Island, a notorious penal colony. The prisoners were sent there for hard labor, often as punishment for political or criminal offenses. Sakhalin was infamous for its brutal conditions, where many prisoners died due to the extreme climate, poor food, and harsh work requirements. It was one of the most feared penal colonies of the Russian Empire. This illustration is by Charles Eisen for one of Jean de La Fontaine's tales from 1764. The image depicts a story where a demon torments people, but a woman lifts her skirt, causing the devil to flee in terror. This reflects an old belief that such a display of the female body could ward off evil. Eisen's Rococo-style drawing was created for La Fontaine's more daring, adult-oriented tales. Around 1915, a pit pony is being lowered into the Saint-Étienne coal mine in France. This was the method used to transport working horses underground. Many of these horses spent their entire lives in the mines, rarely seeing daylight again. In 1968, George DeBoard, a heart transplant patient from Texas, holds his removed, diseased heart in a jar of formalin. The first successful heart transplant was performed a year earlier, in 1967, by Christian Barnard, paving the way for life-saving surgeries. In 1945, Allied soldiers watched as the last barracks burned down at the liberated Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. The buildings were set on fire primarily for health reasons, as the camp was found to have appalling sanitary conditions. Holocaust survivor Joseph Gutmann reunites with his liberator and adoptive father, Master Sergeant William Best, December 24, 1948. After being liberated from Buchenwald in 1945, the teenage Gutmann joined Best's tank unit as their mascot. Best later adopted him, helping him immigrate to the US, where he studied jewelry making and built a new life in New York. In December 1943, British soldiers underwent training in Italy to recognize and disable landmines and common explosive traps, even in the dark. This skill was especially crucial during night operations, where quick, precise actions were necessary to ensure the safety of the troops. In 1942, 29 Navajo code talkers joined the U.S. Marines, chosen for their language's complexity and lack of written form. They created unique terms to translate military messages, like giant turtle for tanks, potato for hand grenades, pregnant airplane for bombers, and crazy white man for Hitler. This code proved unbreakable and was vital for secure communications during World War II. This photo shows Jewish merchants arrested after the November 1938 Kristallnacht, a violent Nazi pogrom. The overnight destruction targeted Jewish businesses, synagogues, and homes, leading to hundreds of deaths. Many of the people arrested were sent to concentration camps, and the men in this photo were likely sent to Buchenwald, one of the most notorious Nazi camps. Piles of bowls littered the snow-covered railroad tracks, leading to the main gate of the Auschwitz II-Birkenau concentration and extermination camp, after it was liberated by the 322nd Rifle Division of the Soviet Army on January 27, 1945. In 1893, Frenchman Louis Boutin took the first underwater selfie using a camera without a diving suit. Boutin was one of the first to combine photography and marine biology, helping to showcase the underwater world. This photo shows a 1952 Ku Klux Klan gathering in South Carolina, where members carried out the infamous cross-burning ritual. The practice was used as a form of intimidation and to assert power. In the 1950s, the KKK remained active, particularly in the southern states, where tensions increased with the rise of the civil rights movement. Miriam Kate Williams, known as Volcana, was one of the most famous female strongwomen of her time. In this photo from around 1890, she poses in a show outfit considered daring for the era. Beyond her incredible strength, she was known for real-life heroism, once rescuing a man from a burning building. She defied expectations in a time when women were rarely seen in such powerful roles. In this 1975 Toronto photo, a topless woman shines a man's shoes, while a sign advertises a nude body rub service. If customers enjoyed the shoe shine, they could inquire about the massage offered by the topless shoe shiner. This service reflects the bold, sexualized advertising culture of the 1970s. In 1939, Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in the world, was 21 years old and stood at an incredible 272 centimeters, 8 feet 11 inches. Just a year before his death, his rapid growth, caused by a tumor on his pituitary gland, had left him struggling with his bones, muscles, and joints. He used a cane to walk. Until the age of 4, Wadlow grew at a normal rate, but then he began to grow at an extraordinary pace. By age 8, he was already 188 centimeters tall, and at 9, he could lift his father and carry him up the stairs. German battleship Gneisenau in dry dock at Kiel, showing severe damage to her bow after being torpedoed by British submarine HMS Clyde, 1940. 38 captured Poles being executed by the German army and Danzig police after defending a Polish post office in the former Free City of Danzig, October 1939. A rare photo from November 22, 1963, shows the discovery of the likely murder weapon at the scene of the Kennedy assassination on the 6th floor of the Texas Book Depository in Dallas. The rifle is believed to have been used by Lee Harvey Oswald for the shots. In 1916, German forces launched an assault on French positions at Verdun, aiming to exhaust the enemy. The battle turned into months of brutal fighting, with relentless artillery fire and close combat. Though the French ultimately held Verdun, the cost was immense. Nearly 700,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or went missing. Germans in Prague, evicted from their homes on Strassmayer Square, wait to be deported to Allied-occupied Germany, 1945. December 5, 1933. The first vodka shipment from the Soviet Union arrived in the U.S. at the port of New York after Prohibition ended. It marked the beginning of vodka's rising popularity in the American market. In 1943, Australian soldiers getting their hair cut, using a captured Japanese flag as a makeshift cover in New Guinea. World War II South African fighter pilot ace, with 35 Nazi aircraft kills, Adolf Sailor Malan, being carried by fellow veterans to one of the earliest major anti-apartheid protests, circa 1952, South Africa.
Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.